Hi, you guys. Welcome to Audrey's reading area. I was having a bit of technical difficulties, and hopefully, it's not going to be a problem now. Hopefully, this live video it has started. Somebody let me know if it has started. I can't tell. Anyway, welcome to Audrey's reading area. Alexa, what time is Audrey's reading area?
Audrey reads in her area live at 5 o'clock p.m.
Live at 5, you guys. That's right. All right, on this wonderful multicultural awareness Wednesdays. You know, on Wednesdays, I try to read books from other cultures, just make us aware of what's going on around the whole world. So, yes, I do have a fun and exciting, and it's a different culture book. It's a book about India. I'm going to read a book about India. And I do apologize. I don't really have a lot of props from India. So I apologize. I'm just kind of putting up some dolls that I have that's as close to it as possible. I'm sorry. So, you guys, India, it is a true book, India, it says. It's by Elaine Landau. Elaine Landau. Or Landau. India. Once again, I apologize. I don't have like real props from India, but just enjoy this book. Enjoy learning about India, a subcontinent. It is a subcontinent. India is the world's seventh largest country. It is located on the continent of Asia. India's population is about 1 billion people. Wow. Various parts of this nation are quite different. Within its borders are snow capped mountains, tropical forest, fertile farms, and deserts. And with that, I'm going to shout out to my grandbabies, Korea, Sanaa, David the Third, and Kaden. And don't forget, you guys, click that like button, click that share button, go on over to YouTube and smash that subscribe button on Audrey's Reading Area. Audrey's Reading Area, yes. All right. Let's get back to India. This is India, a subcontinent, world's seventh largest country. Wow. A man pushes his motorcycle through the flooded streets of New Delhi, India's capital, after a monsoon. India's capital is New Delhi. India's climate is quite warm. Though throughout much of it, temperatures are between 60 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit during the cool season. During the cool season? That's the cool season? In the hot season, it's often more than 100 degrees. And from July through September, heavy rains called monsoons fall. So heavy rains are called monsoons, and he's walking through the floods, the monsoons. India covers about 1,270,000 square miles. Because it's so big and it is cut off from the rest of Asia by the Himalayan mountains, it's called a subcontinent. Now, that's the reason why it's called a subcontinent, because it's cut off from the rest of Asia by the Himalayan mountains. The subcontinent, let me show you the Himalayan mountains. So the subcontinent is home to Himalayan brown bears. Nice. Himalayan brown bears. Tigers, lions, elephants, and a variety of colorful birds. More types of deer are found there than anywhere else on earth. In India, you'll also find busy cities crowded with people, buildings, and bazaars. Yet quiet rural areas exist too. Aw. Now y'all know this is my favorite animal, tigers. I got a tiger to show you. Ah. I'll show you my tiger. My tiger prop. The Kaziranga National Park. Kaziranga National Park is a wildlife preserve where rare and endangered species live in protected environment. At the park, most of Asia's one-horned rhinoceros can be found. The park also has tigers. Tigers. The park also has tigers. Yes. Elephants, wild buffalo, crested serpent eagles, and many unusual snakes. Wow. Interesting. The people of India. India's population is a mix of many different people. The two main groups are the Dravidians, who live mostly in the south, and the Indo-Aryans in northern India. Others in India may be a blend of these two groups. Right, blend. Some are related to India's other early settlers. Many different groups of people make up India's population. Can you see? Yes. There are so many varied groups in India that there is also a large number of languages spoken there. Hindi is the official language. Hindi is India's official language. But 14 major languages and hundreds of minor languages are also spoken there. Throughout India, family life is very important. In rural India, young people usually do not date. The husbands or wives of most young Indians are chosen by their parents. Chosen by their parents. In recent years, however, the choice is often made with the young person's agreement. Okay, I'll agree. I'll agree to marry him. All right. After marriage, a son and his wife and children often live with his parents. Many households in India are made up of grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins, all living together. Some Indians are quite wealthy, but many are very poor. So this young Hindu couple's wedding ceremony is taking place in New Delhi or Delhi. Wow. Look at that. It's interesting. Beautiful. Women in a small rural village draw water from a well to carry back to their homes. They're drawing water from that well, see, to carry back to their home. In small villages, families often live in one or two room houses with mud floors. There may be no electricity or running water. Women carry water from the village well back to their homes in pots on their heads. A few wealthier villages live in brick houses. Recently, the Indian government has taken steps to improve life in rural areas. Improvements have been made in health, education, and cleanliness, but there is still much to be done. There are also large Indian cities where millions of people live. Major cities such as Calcutta, New Delhi or Delhi, and Bombay have large stores, air-conditioned restaurants, and tall office buildings. Their families live in small brick homes. Their families live in small brick homes or apartments with running water and electricity. Other Indian families live in attractive houses with beautiful gardens. India's cities are filled with stores, carts, bikes, and people. Bazaars with small shops line the streets. Usually the shop owners and their families live behind these shops. In some places, they actually live on top of the shops. In some places in the United States. Interesting. So we would live like on top of some of these stores, and here they live behind it. Interesting. As in other countries, Indian cities also have some large slums. Slumdog Millionaire is one of my favorite movies. Yes, it is. In these slums, homeless people live in the street or in small shelters. Here is a crowded market street in Bombay. Here's an aerial view of Bombay, the largest city in India, and home to more than 8 million people. I'll show you the aerial view of Bombay. And this is a crowded market street in Bombay. Wow. Crowded. Since overcrowding and cleanliness are problems, Disease can spread rapidly. As the population grows, the situation gets worse. The Indian government is trying to find ways to solve these problems. A family's wealth usually influences the type of education a child receives. Only a small portion of Indian children attend school past sixth grade. Young people often have to work to help their families. Life is quite different for the children of wealthy Indian families. They attend private schools where they study a variety of subjects and participate in sports. After graduation, many go on to colleges and universities. So here, students in some village classrooms above do not have desks and chairs. India has more than 4,850 colleges and universities. This is the University of Allahabad. Okay, University of Allahabad. Allahabad. Religion and society. Religion is important in India. India is the birthplace of 4 of the world's religions. They are Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism. Most Indians are Hindus. Some are Muslims. Christians and members of other religions can also be found in India. These Muslims, who make up the second largest religion group in India, are praying in front of a mosque in Bombay. Wow, that's so interesting. Nasir. That says Nasir. It struck me because I know a lot of people with that name. Their first name is Nasir. A lot of guys. Hinduism teaches that the soul exists after the body has died. It is reborn in another form. The soul continues to be reborn until it achieves spiritual perfection. Then it enters a higher existence. So this here says Hindu temples can be found throughout India. This one is located in New Delhi, or Delhi. Beautiful. Hinduism also teaches care and concern for all living things. Besides not harming humans, Hindus must be careful not to hurt animals. Cows are given special protection. Hindus consider India's Ganges River sacred. The Ganges River is considered sacred. The Ganges is one of the world's longest waterways. They don't have a picture of it here yet. But each year, here we go, Hindu pilgrims bathe in its water to purify themselves. The sick and injured go to the Ganges hoping the water will cure them. Hindus believe that people are born into groups called castes. A person's caste can affect who that person marries and is friends with. It will also influence the kind of job a person has. At the bottom of the caste system are the untouchables. Through the years, this group performed jobs considered unacceptable by Hindus in higher castes. Untouchables were ignored by other Hindus. They couldn't live among members of different castes or even take water from the same wells. Wow. Now this here, it says Hindus bathe in the Ganges River, which they believe is the most sacred river in India. They are bathing in it. And I hope it works. I hope it heals them. I hope it's been helping. I hope so. Let me find out. I'll be right down there trying to heal. However, the government has outlawed such measures. So let me read this last sentence on this page first. It says, they couldn't live among members of different castes or even take water from the same wells. So it says, however, the government has outlawed such measures. The 1950 Indian Constitution guarantees untouchables full rights as citizens. But some Indians still cling to the old ways and have not helped the untouchables. Here it says an outdoor classroom of students from the Untouchable cast. Wow. Food and clothing. I'm going to talk about food and clothing. Popular foods in India may be very different from what you're used to. Most Hindus do not eat beef. Muslims do not eat pork. Vegetable dishes and lamb are most frequently served. Rice, corn, barley, and chana, which is a type of chickpea. Show you this picture. Rice, corn, barley, and chana are basic Indian foods. The most common kind of bread is a round, flat wheat cake known as chapati. Spicy fruit sauces called chutneys are often part of a meal. When they say spicy, they mean hot spicy. Woo, child, it be hot. A collection of Indian foods that include chapati, chutney, rice, fruit, nuts, and lamb. Oh, wow, that looks good. Yes. Fruits, which are grown throughout the country, are popular. They are used in chutneys and other dishes. Fruits and nuts are ingredients in many of India's desserts. Traditional Indian clothing also differs from what you might buy in the U.S. stores. Some Indian men wear a dhoti. This is a cloth garment that is draped around a man's waist and legs. It looks like a loose-fitting pair of pants. The shirt worn are also usually long and loose. Let me see it. This man left is wearing a dhoti and a long, loose shirt, the traditional clothing of Indian men. This Hindu bride is wearing a brightly colored sari made of silk. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I hope to take a trip to India one day, and I sure will purchase one of those for myself. Beautiful. The saris of wealthy Indian women may be made of brightly colored silk. Designs of gold and silver thread are usually woven into the fabric. The saris of poor women tend to be made of cotton instead of silk. They're not as fancy. Not everyone in India wears traditional Indian clothing. Many Indian men, especially those who work in cities, wear clothes that are similar to the ones men in the United States wear. Some women wear dresses instead of saris. Beautiful. I really have to get one for me, especially since I have a book about that, right? The economy. Farming is important to India's economy. With such a large population, great amounts of food are needed. Many people in rural India are farmers. Among the crops grown are rice, wheat, and millet. Farmers also raise cows and buffalo. But because cows are sacred to the Hindus, these animals are not eaten. And I think that's why they don't eat beef, because, beef comes from the cow. Instead, they are used to pull plows and to provide milk. Here's a picture. It says a farmer plows his field. Farming is an important occupation in India. Farming is important. Over the years, manufacturing in India has increased. India is now one of the largest industrial powers in the world. Iron and steel mills provide materials for the cars, bikes, appliances, and machinery made there. Many Indian factories also produce drugs, chemical fertilizers, and food products. Large numbers of Indian textile workers create fine hand-woven fabrics. Many work out of their homes making rugs and clothing. Look at this. The women in this factory in southern India are making silk yarn. Wow. Beautiful silk yarn. Oh, look at the Taj Mahal. The Taj Mahal. Architecture, the art of designing buildings, is important in India. The country's most famous building is the Taj Mahal. This is a tomb constructed hundreds of years ago by the Indian ruler Shah Jahan for his wife. It has been described as one of the most magnificent structures ever built. You see that? It says about 20,000 workers built the Taj Mahal between 1632 and 1653. Wow, it's like 21 years to build. 20,000 workers. Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So, from yesterday to today, people have been living in India for 5,000 years. Throughout its history, it has been invaded by many different groups. In 1858, part of it came under British rule. It was called British India. As time passed, the Indian people argued that the British denied them important rights and freedom. As a result, the movement for India's independence began. So there was a movement. India wanted their own independence. They wanted their independence. So that's when it began. The movement's best known leader was Mohandas Gandhi. Mohandas Gandhi. Gandhi believed that India's independence could be won through nonviolent disobedience. But let me read this picture. It says Gandhi in the center leads a group of Indians. He leads a group of Indians in a protest in which they sat down and refused to leave until British soldiers carried them away. Wow. Okay, this meant that he and his followers would use only peaceful ways to disobey the British. Sometimes they protested unfair treatment by sitting down in the streets until they were carried away. They refused to send their children to British-controlled schools. When they were beaten or even shot at by British soldiers, Gandhi and others still did not react violently. Their nonviolent disobedience gained the world's respect. Nonviolence. During India's struggle against the British, problems arose between the Muslims and the Hindus. Muslims feared that once India became independent, the Hindus would treat them unfairly. The Muslims wanted to create their own nation in a separate part of India. They wanted to call their new country Pakistan, which means land of the pure. Did you guys know that Pakistan, the word Pakistan meant land of the pure? In 1946, in 1946, Britain agreed to free India, but the Muslims insisted on having their own country. Indian and British leaders eventually agreed to give part of India to the Muslims. In August 1947, India and Pakistan became separate, independent countries. Look at this one. This picture here. In 1947, photograph, Indians in the city of Calcutta celebrate the country's independence. Today, India is a democratic nation whose leaders are elected by the people. There is a parliament which makes the country's laws. The prime minister is the leader of the government. There is also an Indian president, but the president doesn't have a lot of power. So let's see what this picture says. Members of India's parliament who meet in a building called Parliament House in New Delhi or Delhi. They're meeting up. So through the years, India has had difficulty getting along with its neighbor countries, China and Pakistan. So India spent a lot of money to find ways to defend itself from attacks. In May 1974, India tested its first nuclear bomb, but Indian leaders claimed that the country would not build many nuclear weapons. In May 1998, India exploded 5 nuclear bombs underground. This action angered the leaders of the nations throughout the world. They feared it might encourage the building of even more nuclear weapons. However, the Indian Prime Minister has said that India may sign a treaty that keeps countries from testing nuclear weapons. India is the world's largest democracy. It has a proud tradition of nonviolence. Hopefully, this tradition will continue into the future. So let's look at this picture here. One of many groups who gathered in May 1998 to support India's underground nuclear tests. Look at that. Wow. The end. The end of the story. Oh, wow. We can meet the author. Well, they have some important words. Bazaar, a marketplace or group of shops. Continent, one of the 7 large land masses of the earth. Democracy, a way of governing a country in which the people choose their leaders in elections. Inhabitant, someone who lives in a particular area. Irrigate, to supply water to crops by artificial means, such as channels and pipes. Rural, having to do with the countryside or a farming area. Species, a particular type of plant or animal. Treaty, a formal agreement between 2 or more countries. And turban, a head covering made by winding a long scarf around the head. Wow. Author again is Elaine Landau. All right. Thank you again. Thanks for listening to me read fun, exciting, and cultural, different cultures book about India. Books like this, try to read you every Wednesday. Tune in. If you like to hear about different cultures and different places, yeah. So once again, shout out to my mom who's here every day. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, my friend Sadie, for being here all the time. My cousin Patsy and her kids. Thank you for being here and listening to me read fun, exciting, and different culture books. Thank you, Elide and Victoria and Sheena G, for sharing my videos every day. Thank you. Greatly appreciated. You guys have helped me get lots and lots of subscribers, which leads me to please click like, please hit share, and please go on over to YouTube and then type in Audrey's Reading Area and smash that subscribe button for me. Punch it. Punch that subscribe button for me. Well, all right, you guys. All right. Thanks for being here, and I will see you tomorrow again live. LIVE. I'll be live at 5. I will see you then.